Good morning, everybody. Welcome to my Flosstube. I'm Amy, and this is my channel, Harpy Stitch, all about cross stitch. It is May the 3rd. It is right after my shift at Michael's. As you know, I've got this Michael shirt on. Excuse me. Keep a emergency roll of paper towels right next to between our spots in the living room, and try to get it out of view. Sorry, I've got a spot on my glasses, and I thought I had it. Anyway, now you get to see me glasses free. Alright. Oh, couldn't get it. I'll get it later. Alright. Well, as you can see, my brain is rabbiting already. If you are new, welcome. If you are returning, welcome back. When I looked yesterday, getting ready for this, I'm at 292 subscribers, so I'm just 8 people away from 300, which is kind of exciting. If you are new, please let me know where you found me. Did you find me through my Instagram? Did you find me through, Facebook group? How did you come across my channel? Or one of my stitching groups on Discord? It would be interesting to know. Maybe you found me through the Benevolence Sal. I was very excited to see some people sharing that. Excuse me. So let's start with some life updates after my throat has decided to get scratchy now that I'm filming, of course. That's how it works, right? So, the school year is almost over. I've got 19 days with students left. My classes, I finished my last homework assignment last week. I've got corrections I can do on one assignment from earlier in the trimester, which I will probably do Tuesday. But other than that, my classes are done, which is exciting because now I'll have more stitchy time and less stress. Kids' birthdays tomorrow. Our birthdays are exactly 2 weeks apart. The kid will be 28 years old. Unfortunately, I won't be able to see them, although I do know they're having some fun this weekend for their birthday, and we will be watching a movie with them later today. Let's see. It was kind of an exciting week since I saw you, a couple of weeks since I saw you. I was giving a test, not last week, but the week before, and a wasp got in my classroom, so I had to evacuate my classroom twice because they couldn't find the wasp the first time they came to look for it. And then the kids spotted it again, so we moved to another classroom that wasn't being used. Yeah. The temperature's been going up and down, and even more interesting is, since I saw you last, there was somebody buzzed, and I wasn't expecting a delivery, so I was going to go outside and see who it was, and I'm like, why? And it was the police. So I let them in the building, and they proceeded to put on rubber gloves and go upstairs. And then they left. And then another day, I was doing my morning routine, watching Flosstube, getting ready for work, all that stuff. And I see somebody shining a flashlight in my patio door. I'm like, what weirdo is shining a flashlight into an apartment? And I looked again, and I saw the reflection of a badge. So I went over, and I cracked open my sliding glass door, and I'm like, what can I do for you, officer? And they're like, oh, can you let us in the building? And I'm like, okay. And then I went around, and I let him in, and I'm like, do I need to be worried? This is like the second time this week you guys have been out here. Oh, no, you don't need to be worried. We're just looking for somebody. And they proceeded to put on, one cop proceeded to put on rubber gloves, and they went back upstairs. So I have no idea what's going on, but I haven't seen him since then. So hopefully there won't be more cops in my apartment. I don't know. Things are weird. I did total up my stitches, and I don't think they're quite accurate because I never counted up my, one of the projects. I didn't bother to count it up. I was like, I'm not ready to count this. So in April, my stitch total was 9,407. Again, that is a little under because one project that I didn't count. I just didn't feel like counting it. I was like, I'll count it later. It doesn't matter when I count them as long as the stitches get counted, right? I didn't need it for a challenge. I was just doing it after I did my stitch along that I started to stay up to date. And so far I am. So we'll get there in a minute. Don't have any haul for you this week. Don't have any stitchy kindness, just WIPS and plans. So I hope you stick around, and I hope you enjoy my projects as much as I have been. I will kind of share what I've been using them for and that kind of thing. So let's get started. So this is one of my WIP Go calls for April. It's Dead Outlaw by nightspiritstudio. I started this last year on March 25th. I've already done the partner piece, the female Dead Outlaw. It is on 14 count pecan by fabric Flair, which is a printed fabric. I have completed my 2026 stitches for the year on it, and I pretty much got so close to being totally done with him. I was trying to use up my black that I had already had on my needle. Ooh, don't make the needle fall out. So I just have a teeny tiny bit on this boot and then a little outlining to do, and the cowboy himself will be done, and it will all be the archway. I'm doing this 2-over-1. There are only 6 colors in this, and I want to look though because I did change it a little bit. Can you see? So for the little rosy things on his vest, I used metallic thread instead, and this was already there. But the bullets in his belt, I used a toile and a toile for the gun handle instead of just the same color as his bones. And then I also used a toile for his stirrups. Not for the straps, but for this darker here and then the stirrup. And I haven't put the other stirrup in yet, but that will also be a toile. So that is my Dead Outlaw. I don't have this in Pattern Keeper, but the cowboy is pretty much done. There'll be a base and then an archway with a bell. The female one has the year we got married, and I think I'm going to put the year that we started dating under him. That's what I think my husband requested. And then they'll be on our wall facing each other, and he'll be first because he's facing to the right and she's facing to the left. So it'll be the year we got together and then the year we got married. And that is based on Wild Bill Hickok, and the other one's based on Annie Oakley. And that will be kind of an anniversary piece or pieces for us. But I love how the pecan made me think of tumbleweeds, so I thought it was perfect for this. And I still have some. I'm using it for another project, and I still have enough I could use do it with another project. So yes, I think he's looking great. And that is my first WIP. I used him for weeklies. I'm using all of my WIP Goes for my weeklies until I get my 2026 stitches done. I wanted to say thank you to the people who voted on him, because I had my free space called for WIP Go this month, and he's what everybody voted for, barely, like he won by 1 vote. But, and I actually have, he's on my WIP Go board at another time already. So I will get more work on him later. So since I got like most of his legs and his coat done, I think I'll make good progress on him when I pull him out again for another 2026 stitches. All right, let's see what is next. This is In Bulk by Kick Stitches. This is going to be a gift for my son-in-law. I've already done one for him. I'm doing all of the sabbats for him. And funnily enough, strangely enough, maybe that would be easier to say, this is what was the WIP Go for April that I was working on when my kid came to visit, and he was over at doing his robotics tournament. So I got quite a bit done on this with my 2026 stitches. And the last time I worked on this, I remember it being so slow, and it seems so much faster. I am doing it 1/1 on very smoky white Belfast linen. I started it on January 27th of last year, and it is 28 count, and there are 22 colors. And the only problem is it is half stitches, so I am having to pierce the fabric sometimes. But I'm doing my back stitch as I go, so like I didn't have this all in last time. I've got more of the sheep in. I did find some crosses I hadn't crossed all the way. I added some of the background. I added the back stitch on here, and then I added a bunch of these flowers, which I will have to back stitch, but I think it's looking great. And then I will frame it in a hoop and start on the next one when I get this one done. But I got close to 50% on this. I also not in Pattern Keeper, but I finished my WIP Go, so it has had 2026 stitches this year, and it has come a long way, baby. Okay, this was my birthday start. It was a little belated because it didn't come out until 4 days after my birthday. And I meant to take it out of the hoop before we started, but I'm trying to get this done before my husband's done with his morning ritual. And it's coffee time, and he'll want to play his video game. All right, so I started this on April 24th, 2026. It is on 32 count Feldspar Belfast linen by Picture This Plus, 32 colors, and I'm doing it 2/2. So I've got one arch complete. This is the Lola Chrome Museum After Midnight. I have put in 1,793 stitches. I'm at 28.4% of doing the frame, and later today I need to put in another 350 stitches. I figured, because what I'm doing is this is my priority project after I do my weeklies. So then I pulled this out as soon as my weeklies are done, which will be much faster now. And to finish it in the 6 weeks before the first piece comes out, I need to do 1,051 stitches a week, or about 16%. And so that's what I'm trying to do. I was going to do more than that, but there's another challenge for fandom that I will talk about later. So after I'm done filming, I will grade some papers, a very little stack. I gave my kids a reward week and a work week kind of thing, and so we watched a movie, and while they watched the movie, I graded papers. So I got a lot grading, so I have like a less than half an inch stack of stuff to grade this weekend. So after I finish this, I'm gonna grab my lunch, help my husband get his coffee for the morning, and then grade papers, and then it will be stitching time again. All right, so I'm so excited. It's looking so beautiful. I love the pop of teal. I can't wait to see the first exhibit. And I am putting this in Pattern Keeper, which is why I know the percentage. But I do have a favor to ask. Does anybody have any really good directions? Because I know you can export your progress and then put in the new section and then upload your progress again so that your percentage is correct for the pieces that have been released. But I've never done that before. So if anybody has any really good tips for exporting and importing progress for Pattern Keeper, I would love to hear it. I know people have mentioned it and said how to do it, but my brain was like, I don't need that information. I'm not using Pattern Keeper. And I will never remember where to find it on somebody's Flosstube. I really need to start taking notes while I watch Flosstube because I'm terrible at remembering details. All right, so this is the project that I worked on after I finished my weeklies before May started and before Museum After Midnight was released. My brain just froze up on me. So I started this particular one on October 3rd, 2023. So it's one of my older WIPs. This is Halloween Fairy, or Trick or Treat Fairy by Nora Corbett. One of the things I did was I got it on a scroll frame because I have reached the beading stage. Well, I could go up and do the moon and then go back to the beads, but here's the deal. Half the stuff I'm going to I need to count to get to the moon are the actual beads. And it's a bunch of backstitch. So I got her leg done, I got her skirt done, I got in some more of the vines and the spider webs, and I've got some more spider webs to add down here. I got in the beads. This is supposed to be Christmas red. They look a little too orangey for me, but they look fine. And then I got some beads over here, and then I got some black beads here at the bottom. And what I'll do is after I finish this stuff down here, I'll scroll it. But I am actually hoping to maybe finish her in July. I am using this for halfway to Halloween. I already did one project halfway to Halloween because I couldn't resist. I started a little early, but I was working on this one for halfway to Halloween during the actual time before Museum After Midnight. Oh my gosh. I'm looking at the pumpkins from this distance on the yellow, and they're so gorgeous. I love them. And this is on, I forgot to tell you, 32 count Yellowstone by Needle Bling Designs. Halfway to Halloween is hosted by Jason X Stitches. There are 17 colors and I'm doing this 2/2. So I've got 2 needles, my regular needle and my beading needle, which they're way too freaking long. It's like you gotta waste so much thread that way. You don't need them that long to bead. What else? Oh yes, I also had some downtime, and I was done with my weeklies that were my WIP goes. So I worked on other weekly goals with some of my other 26 for 2026 projects. Trying to get them caught up because I'm trying to make it so that I have 1 month where I don't need to be working on them, so I can get all 26 projects done. Because I know that Fandom's hosting a finish event in July, so I'm trying to kind of get ahead on some of my other ones that are on my 26 for 2026, but not on my WIP Go board. So this is Letters from Hogwarts by Cunning Crossstitch. It's a stitch your own adventure. I've gotten some of the files for the Lord of the Rings. He also did a RuPaul Drag Race one. So what you do is I rolled dice to get the shape and the color of my wand. I didn't roll dice for my house because I had already taken a quiz and I'm Hufflepuff, so I was working on that. But each of the sections you like roll dice, or you can pick. But the idea is you roll dice and then it decides what classes you're in, what what Huffle. My brain is blanking. I keep the quaffle. Sport, Quidditch. What Quidditch position you play on the team, what, you know, stuff like that. So I was working, I got a bunch of these diamonds done and filled in for my Hufflepuff house because I was tired of doing the border, which is just going to be a bunch of this and envelopes at the bottom for the letters from Hogwarts. And I do know there was somebody who took the top of this and put it on top of their Frogwarts, in addition to the footprints designed by Nautalota Stitches. So that is this. I have not reached my 2026 stitches on this yet. It is on 32 count stone gray Belfast linen, 44 colors. I pulled someone into cross stitch with this particular piece and got it right before they pulled it down due to She Who Shall Not Be Named's shenanigans. But it is unlicensed and I have no guilt in enjoying the world without giving her money. So that is where I'm at. And this will probably be on my 26 for 2020 or 27 for 2027. I really do wonder how high they're going to go because it's hard to fit in that many. Like 2 a month was pretty okay. Well, I guess 225 was a little bit more than 2 a month. But the combining my WIP Go with this is working really well to get my 26 for 2026 done. And I think I'll do the same thing next year. And I'm hoping once summer gets here, I will incorporate the Wanderlust game into my routine. I just couldn't do it with school and work and everything else. All right, next is another one that I used for filling in weekly when I was done with my WIP Goes. It is also for Sloan Stitches, Jess's birthday sal. A little late, sorry, Jess. But it's for her 40 tiny stitches sal. And I did not do 40 stitches. I couldn't. Like, that's one strand. So I worked on What Lies Beneath by Charting Creations. The artwork's by Dakota Detweiler. I picked this because it is full coverage on 32 count linen. I started this on 5/20/2025. It has 108 colors. I'm doing it 1/1. And I will also be using this for Well Hello There Sal in May for Charlie Stitch's birthday because it's nautical. It doesn't have a whale, but it's nautical. I started in the upper left hand corner, so I'm up here. And I put in a little over 200 stitches. And right now it's just a bunch of blue. Although I got a little bit of white in there for the little stars. And we're starting to get into the swirls in the sky. I mostly filled in. So it is now sitting at 2,527 stitches. It is at 0.44% because the whole design is 578,000 stitches. So it goes actually pretty fast. I just have to be careful in certain spots to not pull too hard and have the stitch go under the waff or the wane. But there it is. I am looking forward to getting down a little further. I'm hoping that I'm getting close to some of the trees on top of the Octopus Island head so that I can get something besides blue. I mean, they're gorgeous blues, and it is a variety of blues. It is pretty confetti heavy though, but I love it. So this has not been called for WIP Go yet, and I will be a little bit ahead on my 2026 stitches when it is, but that's okay. So I gotta fold it up. It is a blanket even on 32 count. All right. And then, so it is May, and one of the things that fandom is doing this month is called Spring Awakening, and it's like Mania, except for you can start a project every day. You can start a project 16 days out of the month, or they offered the option of working on an existing WIP for 16 days out of the month. You get the least points for that. It's 1 point for every 100. The second option is 2 points for every 100 stitches, and all the new starts is 3 points for every 100. However, I just did 50 starts last year. I have some things I want to start, including my Benevolence banner, my Skeletor project for the Live, Laugh, Love frame, which I know my husband would like me to get done ASAP. So I am trying not to give myself unnecessary. Oh, and 2 co-workers are having babies, so I'm going to make them baby presents. I think one is going to be a stuffed animal, and one is they really like butterflies, and they and their spouse's favorite colors are purple and pink. So I'm going to find a really pretty butterfly to put in their baby's nursery. All right, so I went back to my oldest WIP for this. It is a stocking for my adult child to replace the one needlepoint one I made when they were a baby that has threadbares and is more their aesthetic than a teddy bear at this point. And I did double check with them that they still want it. This is the Wisdom Stocking by Hade, art by Jerry Gerhardt. And so what I am going to do, I already did one day. So today I'm going to do my 350 stitches on the Museum After Midnight. And then I'm going to come to this and I'm going to work on it. Excuse me, my mouth is really dry again. And then I'm going to work on this. And I can get up to 5 points a day. I got like 356 stitches yesterday. But I put this in a stitch pal, and if I do like 100 and something stitches a day, every day, I can get this done in time for my kid's 30th birthday. Maybe I can get it done faster, but I am now at 12.9%, and it has 17,624 stitches out of 136,612. So I'm going to use the fandom's Spring Awakening to try to make some more progress. I have filled in his beak, more of his neck up here, and you can see some of his beak. So I'm going to just work up. I'm also going to try and hopefully get a page finish on this with those 16 days, so that I can also meet another prompt for the monthlies. I did meet today I will meet my stitch along task monthly, which is 1,000 stitches, up to 1,000 stitches in a sal, and I will meet that with Museum After Midnight today. But sorry, my brain is not in order today. But yeah, I'm working on this beak, and I'm going to try to fill in. I don't like to leave ninja stitches on this because I'm doing it 2/1 on 25 count. It is very tight, and if I leave the ninja stitches, I can't find them later. So I'm going as I go and trying not to leave any like try not to have a bunch over here so that all these get pressed shut before I can fill them in. But that is Wisdom. That is my last one for you. There are 86 colors in this, and I started it August 11th, 2021. So it is an antique WIP at this point. So, as I said, no haul, but I do have plans. Oh, and I have some stuff to talk about that I've been watching. I have been too busy brain-wise to really remember what I read. But I've been watching tons of musicals. Just watched Gentle for the first time yesterday. Pretty good. I did know some of the songs, but I hadn't seen it. All right. So I'm going to continue my weeklies. My May WIP Go. So I haven't started on these. I'll start on these on Monday. So sorry, zipper. May WIP Go. I had two things got called. One was Deadly Aquarium. So this is where I am with that. I did work on it a little bit. I have not finished my 2026. So for WIP Go, I just say 2 days, and that's whatever I get in those 2 days. Using them for weeklies has made me actually work on them for more. So I'm still working on like the third exhibit or fourth exhibit, the stonefish and everybody there. So this is one of my May WIP Go calls, and this is on Sequoia by, I think it's Picture This Plus. So I will give you the deets of that later when I show you my progress next time. But yes, it's going to be a very Lola Crow heavy month for me between this and Museum After Midnight. All right. And then the other WIP Go call I got was Emerald Mermaid by Mirabilia. And I actually am intending on putting this on a scroll frame as well, but I'm going to have to put it on sideways because none of my scroll frames are wide enough for this baby. So this is where I am starting her out. And I don't, off the top of my head, remember the fabric at the moment. But this is where she's at. But I want to kind of do the beads as I go with her. So I will end up like putting her on the scroll frame like this and having to stitch her sideways because she's too wide. She's, in fact, even doing her top to bottom here will be a very tight fit for my scroll frames. But that is the two things for my May. So I'm kind of doing Mermania because I have one mermaid and an aquatic thing that were drawn for May WIP Go. And so Museum After Midnight, 350 a day, Friday through Sunday is my goal. If I finish up that early, my weeklies early, then I'll work on it before that. Okay, I really need your input here. I started thinking about this because I have that Benevolence Banner Sal. And some people have already started it, which is awesome. It's fine. And I'm actually thinking of starting it early myself. I was going to start it on the 4th of July, but Frogwarts is that next weekend. So the pattern for Frogwarts, we'll get our release of it on June 30th. We can start it, and then we're trying to finish it before the end of the retreat. So if I'm working on the Benevolence Banner, I might not finish it for the retreat. I'm not competing this year. I'm just doing Hogsmeade so I can hang out and have fun. But I still want to finish the pattern during the retreat. So I'm seriously considering starting Benevolence Banner before that. Plus, if I get a good start on it, maybe I can finish it in July for the finish event in fandom. So, what do you guys think? Should I start that early and maybe try to finish it by July 4th? But yeah, how would I'm trying to figure out how to fit that in with trying to keep up with the Sal. And well, I only need 16 days. So if I did Museum After Midnight and then altered between Benevolence Banner and Wisdom this month. And Benevolence Banner is not full coverage. It's not that big. I think I could make pretty good progress. What do you guys think? I will leave it up to you as when you think I should start that. All right. So, a couple of things I've been watching. The Wild are in the hockey playoffs. And we started with game 5 because we didn't realize right away our sense of time is terrible. And they're playing the Dallas Stars. So the Dallas Stars used to be the North Stars, which were the Minneapolis team. Then they moved to Dallas because the owner sold them to Dallas. And then we got the Wild. So now, yeah, we're rooting for the Wild. And there's another game tonight at like 7. So we're going to watch a movie with the kiddo at 5. Because their birthday's tomorrow, and then we're going to watch the hockey game at 7. Both games have been really good, and the last Wild game, which was Thursday, where we beat the Dallas Stars to win that series. Now we're playing the Avalanche, which I'm terrified of, because the last time the Wild faced the Avalanche in the playoffs, they kicked our asses. Totally beat us, like shutout games, first 4 games, and we were done. But I learned that Minnesota has a female hockey team, a professional female hockey team. They only started the league in like 2023. So there's only 8 teams. We only started with 6, but we're playing, the female hockey team is called the Minnesota Frost. They have won the Women's Professional Hockey League playoffs 2 years in a row. This is year number 3 they've had it. And they are the defending champions. Nobody else has ever won the League Cup for the Women's League. And they are playing Montreal. We watched their game yesterday. It was a nail biter. Like overtime. It was intense. And the girls are fighting more than the boys on the hockey. Like, when the 80s, you used to have enforcers, and they deliberately would get penalties to take out the good players. They don't really do that in men's hockey anymore. But the women fighting all the time on the ice. It was crazy. But I always say I would rather like step between 2 dudes fighting than 2 girls, because once girls get ticked off enough to fight, stay out of their way. So it was really intense that way too. But they won in sudden death overtime. It was amazing. It was a great game. So I've been watching a lot of hockey. When we're not watching musicals, we're usually watching hockey right now. And I want to go to a game. We have our college, which is right down the street, has a hockey team, male and female. And there's a high school male and female team. And they all play at the college hockey rink right down the street from us. And we keep forgetting to go when the college and the high school have hockey. So we're going to try to do that next year. I have been watching more Flosstube. I'm going to try to pick up on my Flosstube watching. I'm trying to go back and get caught up on some people. Still watching like Stitch by Liz, Stuart and Stitches. But I've been subscribed to Covered in Floss for a while, and I've only watched 1 or 2 of Dobby's videos. But now I've been kind of binging and trying to go back and catch up on her stuff. She has some beautiful projects. She's so sweet, and it's a really, you can clearly see the joy of her stitching. She is a full coverage stitcher who has moved more into smaller pieces and sampler kind of stuff. So she does have a variety. I do recommend you check her out. She is a German woman living in Poland, has kitties that come and visit, and she's super sweet, and you should really give her a try. I'm trying to think of who else that I've been watching. Of course, Jason X Stitches. I'm trying to get caught up so that I can just keep up with the newer episodes, because I like watching everybody and getting to know them well. Which I don't feel I do if I just watch 1 or 2 episodes. So I'm trying to work through my catalog. It will be hindered a little bit by the fact that I need to work on my portfolio for my teaching license. But weather's nice. Last day of school for the kids is May 29th. They're redoing the bathrooms in our high school this summer, so there won't be much visiting that. Yeah, I'll talk about that more next time. So our final grading day might be a from home day, which would be nice because then I'll just finalize grades while I watch Flosstube. Because they'll be starting construction as soon as the kids are out of the building. Oh, wow, let's see. Anything else I want to touch base on? No. All right. So if you are still here, don't forget to let me know. 1, how to import and export and import my progress on Pattern Keeper. 2, vote for when I should start my benevolence sampler. And 3, let me know how you found me. And if you have any comments, questions, or anything, my ban, I did pretty good with my not going to Facebook and Instagram till the last week or so, but I haven't really been posting. I've just been checking in on notifications that looked important. Ends on the 5th, so we'll be back on Instagram and more active on Facebook again. And if you have any questions, reach out to me in either of those places or at my Gmail at harpystitch.com. Or not harpystitch.com. I don't have a website yet. harpystitch@gmail.com. And if you made it to the end, let me know by leaving me a skeleton emoji, preferably a dino one if there is one. Other than that, I hope you had a great couple of weeks. I'll see you in 2 weeks, and I hope you have some great stitching time. So long. Thanks for all the stitch. Bye.